everyone. It's Tania Gabrielle here, Wealth Astro-Numerologist, and welcome to Star Codes. This is where we look at the upcoming connections in the stars and in the numerology code that merges with the astrology. So today we're going to cover a beautiful subject, and that is Jupiter and Neptune stationing retrograde in Pisces, the sign that Neptune rules, within 5 days of each other in June. Jupiter stations retrograde in Pisces on June 20th, and Neptune stations retrograde in Pisces on June 25th. And Jupiter is the original ruler of Pisces before Neptune was discovered. So you could basically say the co-rulers of the sign of Pisces are together, almost like sisters, deciding to go retrograde. And that actually bodes very well because Pisces is all about surrendering and inviting in higher vibration, spiritual vibration. And with Jupiter retrograding in Pisces, which begins June 20th, you're bound to get more divinely inspired answers to your questions. No matter how those inspirations are brought to your awareness, they will arrive, but they will arrive in a subtle way. So it's attuning your ability to listen closely. And the energy with Pisces is all about opening up. It's a water sign, it's a mutable sign. It's about being ready to receive, listening. So Pisces brings so much compassion, so much unconditional love. And of course, any compassion for others begins with yourself, because Pisces really helps us to let go through forgiveness and through empathy and compassion. And since Pisces is a sign of flow, mutable water, a sign of change, it can get in touch with your heart, with what you're feeling very easily, so that you can also release emotions. And that can be done in so many different ways, but the water element gives you a clue. Being around water, taking baths, crying, right? It could be tears of joy, it could be tears of sadness, tears of release. And so when Jupiter and Neptune both retrograde, it's actually a big occasion because at this point we have 4 slow-moving planets that will be retrograding. And those are Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, and Neptune. And then on July 15th, Chiron stations retrograde in Aries. So at that point, it'll be 5 slow-moving planets. So basically, there's going to be a lot of time for reflection in the summer and winter in the Southern Hemisphere. And so what is the important message here with Jupiter and Neptune both retrograding together at the same time in Pisces? Really, with Pisces, it's a final sign. And so it bridges from one experience into another, from one reality to a new reality. It's endings, it is uncovering the truth. So one of the big questions is, what is the truth? Neptune teaches us to receive the truth by being one with spirit, with source, to immerse our subtle senses and to sink into our intuition. And a lot of information is uncovered in June with Mercury in Gemini, also retrograde, all month long, and then continuing through Gemini, right, all the way through June into July. So Mercury allows us to use the practical mind to discern and to accept or reject based on, with Neptune and Jupiter retrograde, how the heart resonates with the information. So it's a big reassessment period for what we've experienced so far this year. Lots of reevaluation, always with retrogrades. And, retrogrades in general help us to reassess and reevaluate. And with Neptune going retrograde in Pisces, it's more about deepening your experience with your divine self. So as you gauge the unreliability of so many external sources, right? The external sources are what can get us off track when we put our faith in receiving answers externally all the time. So we need to turn within to find the truth, because the only thing that's really left when we strip the external indoctrination, conditioning, is our heart. And this is really a training period with all these retrogrades to trust our heart and to rely fully through that trust on the answers that come, that speak through the heart. Remember that this Mercury in Gemini period is also about speaking, communication. So we're being turned back into ourselves so that we turn away from relying so much on the external. Gemini, where the Mercury retrograde is taking place and where Mercury will stay after the retrograde also for a few weeks, is mental energy, and it's used through the mutable energy because it's a mutable sign, just like Pisces. So Pisces and Gemini are about change and flow, and Pisces is more wordless. There is no communication with Pisces. It's all intuitive. It is feeling, right? It is extrasensory understanding. So it's finding a balance now between what we verbalize, right? What our mind is focusing on, so practical logic, using mental energy appropriately, while also opening the heart and raising your vibrational frequency, rather than creating friction between the chatter of the mind, which of course, that's what we want to avoid. We want to use the mind in a practical way. The friction between the mind and the heart, meaning your thoughts and your intuition, this is a time to understand that there is an appropriate time for each, right? The practical mind helps us with our human experience. The spiritual heart is divine living. And so we need to find a balance. And because of all this mutable energy of change and flow, these retrogrades are asking us to be adaptable and flexible and open. And at this time, until Jupiter retrogrades back into Aquarius at the end of July, there's only one planet in a fixed sign, and that is Uranus in Taurus. And Uranus is not exactly a sign that's happy, a planet that's happy in a fixed sign. Uranus is about excitement and adventure and change and breakthroughs. So it's not really a steady planet. So this is a great opportunity of having this flow, which is a steady flow and less anchored, right? It's not really stable energy. It's really a fantastic opportunity to create anything you want. There's not going to be much resistance, in other words. There is a freedom of movement now that is absolutely delightful. So take advantage of that. And remember, it's the intuition that will guide you, because our mind cannot comprehend how to move forward in times of change. You have to listen to your internal guidance, right? So the symbol for Pisces, where Jupiter and Neptune are retrograding, is made up of two fish. And anytime you have the number 2 in a sign symbol, like Gemini has the twins, you always have a choice. There are decisions to be made. There are options to consider. So the retrogrades are a reminder that all shifts happen within you first. And once the internal choice is made, again, a decision, choice, the external environment shifts by magic. And so being very conscious of your small and big decisions is very, very important. These are the times that there is a fork in the road. You're consciously choosing which fork to take, right? And this has to do with illusion, which is the shadow side of Pisces, versus reality, versus truth, darkness versus light. It is very much about the wisdom and the truth versus deception and dogma. So the external is not a source for truth. It's not a source for security. Your internal compass, when evaluating the external, will be eternally your security, right? Will be your inner peace. So how can you lead life in a new flowing way? That is really the question. You know, Uranus is in Taurus and has been since 2018, and it's really creating a huge reevaluation period about what it is we value, what our habits are. So Uranus is in a square with Saturn all year. That's really the big transit of 2021. So again, look at your habits. Look at what you value. It is undergoing a change. It's all being shifted. And so these new habits are setting, the new habits you are creating for yourself, are setting the way for liberation. And so these retrogrades in Pisces are helping you let go, because Pisces, like I said, is the final sign, the sign of release. So it's a wonderful combo here of the astrology and the numerology, since we're in a 5 universal year of truth. 5 is change and freedom and extricating yourself from control. And 21, the 21st year, is about truth and joy. So ask yourself with every choice, does it feel right? Tune in and trust and take a leap of faith. It's such an exciting time to be alive because there is so much opportunity to shift now. Now, what you want to do when Pisces is really activated, which it will be in June, especially the latter part, is to avoid harsh, loud, aggressive environments and loud, aggressive, harsh people, if at all possible. Pisces, Neptune, they govern beautiful anything, beautiful music, beautiful art, beautiful flowers. And so you want to get actively engaged in manifesting what inspires you, what moves you. And when you do, those joyful, beautiful seeds that you plant are going to expand exponentially and result in joyful outcomes, Jupiter. So surrender to whatever needs letting go of. The more you laugh, Jupiter, at difficult situations as they arise, the more you smile into the challenges as they arise, the more wisdom and abundance you will have at your disposal to help you to overcome those very obstacles and actually thrive as a result of them. So as you lighten up your life by letting go, feng shuiing, figuratively and literally, you engage in the wisdom of the divine. You have this fantastic connection at your disposal, which has always been there, but you're clearing the air in order to really make that connection very stable and present within you, trusting that it's there. And when you do that, suddenly all those burdens that come up, inevitably, those fears are lifted from your shoulders because you have this incredible support system that has always been there, always will be, and is within you. You're just activating it. You're just trusting it. And Pisces is about trust. And so is Jupiter, and so is Neptune, right? Jupiter is trust in the truth and wisdom. Neptune is trust in the spiritual connection that you have. So allow this awakening of joy and love to flood your heart. Reach for the stars. This is the time where you notice all the stars twinkle, and you want to put that twinkle in your eye, and you want to walk joyfully into your day. You want to shed what isn't yours. You want to let go of what you thought was yours by default, remember, but is actually another person's way or another culture's way or society's way or family's way, right? So you want to go forth and find your way. And that will put an internal smile on your heart and your face. Keep in mind the retrograde factor means you need to go within for your discoveries. You need to seek those internal shifts. That is what brings spiritual fulfillment, is that heart-to-heart connection with Source. And it's part of the activation process now, the awakening process. And this Jupiter-Neptune retrograde moment reflects the enrichment that we have on all levels. I mean, Jupiter and Neptune together, this is a very, very abundant moment. It is about the riches that we have on earth, the plenty we have, the prosperity. It's all about flow and expansion. Both of these planets govern eternal growth and expansion and no borders, just really appreciating the immensity of creativity that is at our disposal. So these retrogrades really enhance our imagination. They enhance your intuitive and psychic awareness. They make the unconscious visible and encourage activities that enhance anything that is transcendental. So you're also changing your experience of time. Pisces is timeless, right? Last year in 2020, we had a lot of Capricorn energy that was all about the time is now for things to line up, and it's a very different organized energy. And Pisces is not organized. It is free flow. So you want to embrace timelessness. You want to embrace infinity and eternity and focus on what feels wonderful in this moment. So be full of wonder. Focus on activities that make you forget that time exists. Those are the best ones. Those are ones where, hey, light bulb, it's a clue. This is what you love to do because you're forgetting about time, you're forgetting to eat, you're just in the flow, right? So be present with that feeling. And of course, discover your own code. This is part of the bringing the unseen into the visible. We all have a very deep spiritual soul code that we're born with. The moment in time that we come to Earth is a beautiful blueprint of our soul's destiny and life purpose in this lifetime. And you can discover more about yours and the people around you when you go to a free masterclass I created for you at starcodeclass.com. All you need is your birthday, birth certificate name, and if you have it, the time of birth and place of birth. And it's just a really fun class that I created. There's a handout. And basically you just will be more compassionate and more open to just allowing others to be who they are, because when you look at their code, you can see everybody's is totally different, even identical twins, because they have different names. And it's just really stunning to see and be open and receptive and non-judgmental and encouraging of others based on who they are at soul level. So enjoy that free class at starcodeclass.com. Enjoy this double retrograde in Pisces and have a beautiful week. And I'll see you in next week's Star Codes podcast.